So, we all know the problems that PlayStation 5 and Sony has had these last few, or rather for the last year. Since the release of PlayStation 5, we have seen an increasingly number of problems. We start off, of course, with scalpers, buying the consoles for the retail price and selling them to us for ridiculous prices. Now, in some cases, they say that it's not no different than buying than what big markets do with buying milk from farmers and so on. But yeah, they don't see the problem here. Anyway, we're not gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about a statement that Lisa Su, President and Chief Executive Officer of AMD, said in an interview. She was interviewed, as you can see here, by Advanced Micro Devices Incorporation, as I understand it. And the conference call participants was John Pitzer. Credit Susie, I don't know, honestly. But we're gonna take a look at a statement she did way down here in the interview. Here it is. John says, a year ago, virtually, I complained that I couldn't find an Xbox or a PlayStation. Where a year later, I still can't find them. I'm pretty cheap. I don't want to pay 2 times or 3 times the retail. And that's not cheap, that's being kind to your wallet, I would say. Now, Lisa's words after that is a bit cringy, or whatever you want to call it. She says, you can find them, you're just not willing to pay for them. Well, that statement might well be true. If we take a look at Amazon here, we can see that a brand new, as I understand it, a brand new PlayStation 5 here goes for 9,500 Swedish kronor, and that's roughly what would that be? 1,000, 1,200 maybe ish dollars or more. Could be $1,500, and that's just for the game console. This is the DVD or video, the cassette, not cassette, the DVD version, so it's not the digital one. So it is a bit more expensive, but it's still a ridiculous price to pay. Let's go back to the interview and see what Lisa says after that. She says, well, I think, first of all, I think the console business, this console cycle, and all when you look at it in totality, has been amazing. I mean, if you think about the strength of the cycle, now we're sort of deep into the second year, and the fact that the demand is so high. I mean, we've been shipping out a lot of product, so the fact that the demand is still high says something about just sort of the product capability that's been captured by both Microsoft and Sony this console cycle. We're continuing to ramp up production. We expect 2022 to be another strong growth year for consoles. If you look at the typical console cycle, the peak year is actually the fourth year typically. And so you would expect maybe 2023 would be the peak year. But the overall point is, look, it's a great platform. Yes, it is a great platform, and I'm sure it has been really amazing. But how much of that is scalpers? We don't know. Let's take a look at another. Let's see. Here we have it. Sony has sold 13.5 4 million PlayStation 5 consoles worldwide since launch. According to Sony's latest report, quarter 2 from July to September 2021 saw 3.3 million PlayStation 5 consoles sold. That's a million more than the previous quarter. We can also read here, quarter two 2021 saw the release of high-profile games like Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, Ghost of Tsushima Director's Edition, Death Stranding Director's Cut, which have likely contributed to the strong sales. PlayStation 5 consoles have been in high demand and short supply since launch, but these latest sales figures suggest that more consoles are becoming available. Still, component shortfall concerns are likely to continue into 2023 according to Intel, which will impact PlayStation, Xbox, and Switch consoles alike, as well as PC. Now, these problems, these shortages of components, they don't seem to impact AMDB if you want to listen to them, or I'm confused. Don't they have a shortage as well? Maybe not, maybe. I got no clue. I couldn't find much on that. But we can see that the Tokyo-based entertainment giant has previously targeted more than 16 million units assembled in the year ending March, setting up to achieve its sales goals for the period and also get a head start on the subsequent year's production. The company has now cut the numbers down to about 15 million, making its aim of 14.88 million PS5 sales by March difficult. So they're taking down. Sony has decreased the production of PlayStation 5s because of the short supply of components, and this is despite AMDB saying that it's going great and it's going well and they don't see any problems. Of course, the little virus called COVID-19 is still going kind of strong, especially with new strains and all that type of thing. So that is also impacting both sales and deliveries. Now, uh, the PlayStation 5 became the fastest Sony console to reach 10 million units sold by this July, but it has fallen behind the sales pace of its predecessor PlayStation 4 since then. We can see here that the black representing the PlayStation 5 and blue representing PlayStation 4, it was kind of the same at the release of in October, December last year. Then January, March, the PlayStation 5 took a little bit of a head start, and then April and June, the PlayStation 4 started to go past in sales. If you compare to the PlayStation 4, how much that sold in the same amount of time than the PlayStation 5. But that's not the PlayStation 4 did not have a big pandemic to worry about. We can read here, the PlayStation 5 released a year ago has been hard to find for the full duration of its time on the market, constrained mainly by Sony's struggle to get enough units distributed globally. Uneven vaccine rollouts across developing nations where Sony suppliers have their production bases have made supplies of chips and parts unpredictable. Assembly partners are in daily contact with component makers to confirm that shipment will arrive as scheduled, which is not always the case, the people said. And Sony did not respond to this. But that is very true. The things are quite unpredictable. We also had that rain that flooded and destroyed a bridge in, was it Brazil, I want to say? Where the bridge was destroyed and it has been hard to, well, the bridge is destroyed, you can't go forward. So they need to take some other routes. Now, for the last thing I want to mention is this is a Japanese retailer's way of dealing with scalpers. It's actually kind of funny in some ways, and it's also not the ideal way of doing it, but it's still, I like it when retailers do this. Let's take a look. A post from Gaijin Hunter on Twitter translated the latest anti-scalping strategy being used by Nojima Denki. Due to various complications that have caused the demand to outweigh the supply for the PlayStation 5, scalpers have taken advantage of the issue by reselling the console for prices exceeding the manufacturer's suggested retail price. However, retailer Nojima Denki has begun deterring scalpers by simply writing the full names of the buyer on the box, while also opening and removing the DualShock controller box inside. And while the ink used to write the name could be wiped away, the grooves it would imprint into the box would be difficult to hide. Now, they're not removing the DualShock itself, the DualShock controller, only the box that it's the in the PlayStation 5 package. Now, we can see here why they're doing this. We see here that the reason this rather simple solution is so effective is due to most scalpers wishes to remain anonymous. Given the highly frowned upon nature of the act, scalpers will be more hesitant to resell when the product can be tracked back to them. Opening the box for DualSense controller might not entirely prevent the console from being resold, but it would still deter some buyers who don't want to risk a damaged controller. The solution as a whole will by no means entirely eliminate scalping, but even a slight reduction in the practice would help those still looking for the console. Now, I really like this solution. It's simple, but at the same time, as let's say if I buy from them and they remove as if they suspect them a scalper, I don't know how they're doing, if they're doing it to everybody, because if they are, I could risk a damaged controller if as they do take the controller out of the box and put it loose inside the PlayStation 5 package, as I understand it at least. Now, I have no problem with my name being on the box. That is an entirely different thing. Sure, the box won't look as great with my names in possibly big letters on it, but that's nothing really. I'm fine with that. We can also continue to read here. While scalpers have been an hindrance to most gamers still seeking PlayStation 5, they have recently found scalping to be less profitable. Figures suggest that the resale prices for the console are at all-time low on second-hand marketplaces. Although scalpers are still able to make a profit, the falling price of the PlayStation 5 on sites like eBay, in addition to an increased awareness of buying from scalpers, have somewhat reduced the issue. However, the problem persists as the supply has been unable to truly reach the demand due to the global shortage of semiconductors. While Nojima Denki's efforts against scalpers have been met with relative support from customers, it remains to be seen if any other retailers follow suit with similar practices. Most scalpers have previously acquired their console using bots to bypass the process of sitting in an online queue. However, Nojima Denki's process would require some form of official ID to verify the purchase identity. At present, no official laws have been passed to prevent the scalping of consoles, although the issue has been raised in the UK Parliament. Now, it's very interesting here to see that a parliament is taking notice of this scalping issue and actually have raised the question and so on. That is very interesting. I like that. Now, there are some problems with this thing, and I've also seen other ways uh, other ways of some retailers have done other ways of fixing this issue. Now, this is not perfect, and it's sure. I mean, it's one way of doing it, but there are so many more ways you can do it. But I do like that they are taking a stance against the scalpers. Now, if we go back to the Lisa Su and John Pitzer interview here, I want to go back to the statement. You can find them, you're just not willing to pay for them. And then I have to say that is not a good way to phrase this. I mean, you have retailers that are selling the console who are legitimate retailers, not scalpers or anything, but they're still selling the consoles for way above the retail price or the normal retail price. Normal retail price at what, 600, $650? I'm not sure where it is, but around that mark, at least for the disc version. The digital version might be 550. I don't know, but that is still a good price, I would say. Now, the other retailers who sell it above that are selling at 700 or $800, and it's just getting ridiculous. But it's good to know that the sales are still good. Now the question is, how many of those are scalpers? Now, if the if it's true that the black market or second-hand uh, price for black PlayStation 5s are going down, that is just great news. And I couldn't be more happy for us, everyone who is looking for a PlayStation 5. I had a I had an opportunity to buy one, but I was a bit too late. That still haunts me to this day. But enough about what I can say about this. What are your thoughts on this? Give me your thoughts in the comments. I've been Swip92. Have a great life, and I hope to see you in future videos. Bye bye.